Hello, Ore Diggers. Good afternoon. I'm Ruth Jones with the Office of Alumni Engagement here on campus, and it's so great to see you all here today. Happy spring. Happy almost 80 degrees in Golden. What is that all about? I don't know, but I'm not complaining. And welcome to Lunch Bunch, our monthly opportunity to shine the spotlight on the people and the programs that make minds truly exceptional. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. And of course, to those of you who are returning lunch bunchers, we love you all and we thank you for your continued support. It's great to see you guys on the screen each month. Okay, ore diggers. You know them as the ore diggers who keep the M on Mount Zion shining bright. They're the ones running down the football field alongside Blaster every time Mines scores a touchdown. They're the students who safeguard some of Mine's longest standing traditions and keep the ore digger spirit alive. For 100 years, Mine's chapter of Blue Key Honor Society, one of the oldest in the US, has embodied that spirit, championing leadership, integrity, and service. Founded as an effort to boost school pride, Mine's Blue Key chapter has become a campus mainstay. Today, members are stewards of signature pieces of the Ore Digger experience while developing leadership school skills and engaging in service opportunities that extend well beyond their time at Mines. Along with maintaining the M and caring for Blaster when he's on campus, the group also publishes the Prospector Yearbook and sparks Ore Digger pride at football tailgates and other campus events throughout the year. And I'm sure that our speakers today can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe membership continues to be selective. Students must be in the top third of the class academically and have been enrolled at Mines for at least a couple years before they can join. So, very special group. So today we are taking a closer look at this iconic group as we celebrate their 100-year milestone on campus. We are really excited today to have with us current Mines senior and president of Blue Key, Connor Dunphy, current student Caitlin Johnson, who is the secretary of Blue Key, along with alum Michelle Mormon, Applegate, class of 2005, all of whom will share history, stories, perspectives, and the impact that Blue Key has had on their respective Mines' journeys, laying the foundation for service and leadership. While we're doing the program, we also invite all of you on the call today to think about your own stories and memories to share later on in the call. So before we get rolling officially, as always, some quick housekeeping reminders. If you've got a question during the program, please feel free to use the chat or the raised hand icon, all the Zoom things, or you can simply chime in and ask your question as we go along. As you guys know, Lunch Bunch programs are all recorded and they can be accessed on the Lunch Bunch page of our alumni website, which is where you registered for the program today, which is weare.mines.edu. So if you missed a program, you want to listen to one again, or you want to share the program with a friend, you can visit this page to access the complete archive of all the recordings. And as always, a final note, if you have ideas for future speakers and topics that you want to know more about, please share. We want to make those happen for you, and we will do our best to make that happen. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop talking and turn the program over to our speakers. Please help me welcome Connor Dunphy, Caitlin Johnson, and Michelle Mormon, Applegate, to Lunch Bunch. Take it away.
All right. Well, thank you all for attending today. It's an honor to be speaking to some of y'all. As Ruth said, my name is Connor. I'm the current co-director, I call it, of Blue Key for this chapter. The other director is unfortunately on a flight to France right now, but Caitlin is kind enough to join me as well for this one. Last minute, she put in a lot of work in prepping for this too. So we will kind of start us off with a little brief presentation that we put together about our history as far as like where we are, where we're coming from, and then the current that what Blue Key is up to in the past. So I've shared my screen with you all. If you guys have any trouble with getting accessing it, please let me know. As always, chime in if there's anything I need to slow down on, any questions, etc. We would love to address anything now in the present. So, with that, I'll let Caitlin take it away as far as what we've done.
Sweet. Thank you, Connor, and thank you for the introduction, Ruth. Um, my name is Caitlin. I'm the current secretary of Blue Key, and I'm just kind of going to go over the history of Blue Key and kind of where we came from. So, Blue Key began at the University of Florida in 1924 under the direction of Major B.C. Riley. And this originally started out as a request to kind of find a group of outstanding campus leaders to kind of think of ways to improve student life and really promote school spirit. And they were so good at doing that that they actually developed their own fraternity, and they called it the Blue Key Honor Fraternity. And membership in this group was limited to people with the brains and ability to think straight, to act only after due deliberation, and to pursue a program of service to the betterment of the university. So that's kind of where that started off. It eventually developed into Blue Key Honor Society in 2003. That's how we know it today. And for the origin of the name Blue Key, we don't really know where it started. But Blue Key is now an honor society that stands with three main pillars of scholarship, leadership, and service. All right, so when it comes to our own chapter of Blue Key here at Minds, we didn't start off so official. We started off with Pi Warren. He was a class of 1913, and he noted the presence of a watchdog society in 1923. So there was basically a group of people on campus that took Mind's Pride very seriously, and they became the Watchdog Society. His suspicions would be confirmed by Johnny O'Connor, Cookie Evans, and Maxwell McCormick, all class of 1926, who stated that they formed this group called the Vigilantes. So the Vigilantes were essentially a bunch of pranksters who were not afraid of setting off dynamite and committing really crazy, outrageous deeds, mostly in the name of the rivalry between Mines and Denver University. They were officially recognized as a group in 1925, and they had two main goals as the Vigilantes. They wanted to promote the Mind spirit as well as advocate those ideals of college life, which would be of credit to each of us and to our alma mater. And then on January 26th in 1926, we officially became the Blue Key Vigilante chapter. So we became Blue Key after the Vigilantes announced themselves publicly. They realized that they, the other chapters of Blue Key were forming around the nation. And so they joined in to become a chapter of the Honor Fraternity. And then their motto, so the motto that we recognize in Blue Key that we live by is serving, I live. And this can also be expressed as being I express my own life and character and what I am able to accomplish for my fellow man. So that's a little bit about Blue Key. I'm going to turn it over to Connor.
Mhm. So mainly, we as Blue Key, we're kind of pranksters back then, right? So the big question that I had when I was looking back in our history a year ago is how do we really start getting our traditions and like where did Blue Key come in and like stewarding that? So the M on Mount Zion doesn't really have a clear date of inception as far as we know of, but many agree that sometime fell sometime around 1908 in May. That would be just like a long time before we actually became an official chapter. But once Blue Key actually got its roots here, we kind of pushed for lighting on it with some railroad flares, so that's pretty fun. And we were like, we want this to be lit up for special events like Christmas, other events like Countdown, graduation, that kind of stuff. And so thus we were kind of forced into the role of taking care of it, for better at the time. And so we kind of have gotten the M from there. We would then kind of permanently light it in 1932. It's essentially just some live wire with some bulbs on it, so it's kind of the most rickety setup you can ever get. Truly showing our engineering or digger spirit with building those ourselves. And then we got actual permanent lighting, which is just some slightly safer live wire. It's got a ground on it this time, being installed sometime in 1989. And then that would be digitized and uploaded to a logic control system in '03 and '04. So when I was born, which was a while ago, feels like a long time ago at least. And that was when everything be able to remote control, some Windows XP. We could actually monitor it from down campus, get everything set up, got the M segmented. So it was a huge progress and step for our lighting capabilities as far as putting up designs and kind of representing the mind's spirit with the M. And then, as many of you guys probably remember too, we finally upgraded to LEDs, representing the Earth, Energy, and Environment motto that we had back in 2012. And it was so bright, in fact, that we had to switch out to every other bulb on the M. So if we actually put every bulb on the M and we screwed them all in and let them up, you'd probably be awake at night if you're in the city of Golden, Jesus. So we've had the M that way ever since. Occasionally, sometimes we'll change up the way we parse out our bulb. Sometimes we'll change it to red for special events, but Caitlin will get more into that going forwards.
Yeah, so as the current Blue Key chapter, um, we do a lot of really cool traditions that I know all of us are very familiar with, but some that we want to highlight are starting off with the M climb. This is the iconic M climb. We welcome every single new student with this climb. Everyone brings a rock from their hometown. As Blue Key, it's really fun because we get to wear all these matching shirts and we get to lead the way, starting off with spray painting the hard hats that these new students get. So we get them all colorful, spray paint them. Everyone wears their hard hat and holds their rock as we lead them up. And you know, all the different clubs on campus are there on the way to kind of promote that school spirit. And then once we get to the top, as a member of Blue Key, it's really fun. We get to be the ones that splash everyone with the whitewash. So it's kind of a shock to some students, but it's always a really fun time. And yeah, it's one that we hold very dearly in Blue Key and at Mines as well. Connor, if you want to go to the next one. We also publish and create the Prospector Yearbook. So every year, every school year, we make a yearbook to just, you know, commemorate the whole year, and we give it out to graduating seniors for free, which is a really cool opportunity that we get to do. And we have a great time. We This year we split off the jobs, and so every member of Blue Key had responsibilities in collecting pictures from different clubs and making sure that we're representing everyone and getting to really just celebrate everyone on the Mines campus. So that's something that we do every single year. And then, of course, the beautiful M that we get to light up every single night. When it comes to special occasions, we get to go up there and we get to mess around with the lights, make new shapes. We have essentially really huge Christmas lights, these temporary strands that we get to lug around up there and make new shapes if we want, you know, something rounded, or we need to make something that we can't make with the permanent frame of the M that's up there. And so one of the more recent ones that we did was we lit the number 100 up on the M, and that was so we could celebrate Mine's Blue Key 100th birthday. And that is something that we also celebrated. We invited our Blue Key alums, and they got to gather together. We had a cake with Blaster on it. We got to talk about like our experiences with Blue Key. It was a good time, but that was another way that we celebrate. But the M and lighting up the M for different holidays and events is something that we love to do because that helps us stay connected with Golden as well, because everyone sees it. And then, of course, we organize every single event that Blaster is at. So every time you see the donkey, um, it's Blue Key that planned him to be there. And so, of course, he's at the football games, and we run him across the football field every time we get a touchdown. It's a really fun tradition to be able to uphold, and to practice. We spent a lot of time practicing how to run him down the field and make sure that we get back in time because we only have a few seconds to run down and back. And so it's really fun, and it's a privilege to be able to um, yeah, run with Blaster and take care of him. And then of course, we also love to give back to the community. And so we plan a lot of service trips when it comes to taking care of Blaster and making sure that, he has a pen that fits him and is looking good even after, storms or different weather. And so recently we planned a service trip with our alumni, and we went and we built him a new pen. It was quite fun. We got to take lots of pictures, but we also are very involved with on-campus volunteering when it comes to bigger events like career fair. They always joke that the reason that career fair runs so smoothly is that Blue Key is there to put it together. And so we are very involved in that, and that's something we definitely take pride in. Um, and yeah, we just love showing up for the Minds community.
Awesome. So with that, where is Blue Key going in the future? Well, we have a really big project we're working on and a few smaller ones we're hoping to implement. So on top of all the things we're doing now, our main goal for the foreseeable future is our improvements, as we call them. So the M, as we kind of talked about briefly, aside from the LED upgrades, it hasn't really had any work since 1989, and the landscape around it has never been touched, and quite frankly, at this point, needs some help, right? After thousands of freshmen walking on it year after year, soil's wearing away and it's getting a little bit steep, so it's a little bit tough to traverse and get up there and kind of do our work when we need to, as well as for the people on the M climb. So we've been working on this for about 8 years now, on and off. Michelle might have some more info about it if it's been longer than I can remember, but we are trying to renovate our M with really the first signs of progress emerging this year. So over the past 2 years, we with Blue Key have been working with Kimley Horn, who's a civil engineering firm based out of Colorado, but has multiple different locations all across the nation. We've been working with them along with the Mines Office of Design and Construction, and we've been mainly trying to implement stairs and some terracing to make the M more traversable. And as of this morning, we have actually gotten some drafts from them, computerized drafts and digitized, that of how it might look on the M. So we're super excited to actually be moving forwards with that. Our last step with this, by the end of this academic year, we're pretty much going to move full force into fundraising for the project, and eventually we're going to move into construction as soon as we can hit that goal of fundraising. Hopefully, with some of y'all's help, we can get that a little bit sooner, but there's obviously no pressure at all to help us out. As far as fundraising, Blue Key will continue to consult with individual firms and other engineering consultancies around the country and mostly in Colorado, as well as we move into thinking about how we can improve the framing as well as the electrical capabilities of the M. The M works in segments, and some of the segments are now conjoined to each other. We've kind of Frankensteined it up there long enough that we really want to get back some good control, good hard control of it, and be like, yes, we're confident that the M will light up every evening as we expect it to at the same time. While this project doesn't really have an end date, we'll essentially, our goal for it is to finally model it out fully and to get greater flexibility in our designs while ensuring that the way the M is shined and the way it's continuing to shine is going to be the same so that everyone knows, Minds is Minds. Nothing's changed with it, and we'll be here for years to come. So if you want to cover some smaller side projects.
Yep. So aside from the M, Blue Key is looking at how we can further improve just student experiences and collaborate with more Minds organizations, and also giving back to the city of Golden. And we're also looking back in our Minds history for these ideas. So actually like going through the old yearbooks and seeing different things that we've highlighted throughout the years, and also just our own history that we have recorded. Things like the freshman and sophomore tug of war, winter carnival, and many more ideas are being proposed. Something that's really exciting. Also, something that we've brought back this year is Blue Key jackets. So that's something we really love our traditions, obviously, and we just want to make sure that we are bringing back our favorite ones. So this year we have Blue Key member jackets. It's really fun.
Connor and Caitlin, can I interrupt with a question?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Um,
yeah.
I just was curious. I made mention of it in my intro, but maybe you could speak a little bit about how you join. Do students apply to become a member? Are there certain things they have to be members, and do they renew membership every year? Like how do you get to be a member?
Yeah, so as you kind of mentioned it before, you need at least 4 semesters here at Mines to be
Okay.
a member, to be eligible for membership. So the way we work in Blue Key is that your first year, you are a pledge, which is what Caitlin is right now. And essentially, that just means you are more involved than the average member. You have to go out to a lot more things. We kind of mandate it almost as being like, get your foot out there, see what Blue Key likes, see what you vibe with, and like appreciate in Blue Key, and kind of go from there. And then once you get past that pledge year and you take a pledge final, like kind of just testing on the history and stuff, you can join as a member, which you can continue to serve, and you can kind of more specialize in what you want is interesting. We still have some mandates as far as like what you have to do to keep up your membership, but it's more about like what you personally are interested in being a part of within
Mhm.
Blinky and like where you want to help. The top 33%, we actually reduced that down to 3.5. This is an end goal to kind of focus more on our leadership pillar. So we've noticed in our chapter concurrently, we have a couple of members that sometimes get in because they're, scholastic achievement, but then they kind of float by and don't really do as much as we would hope them to do. So as of now, we're kind of pushing it back down a little bit to maybe see if some of that 3.5 crowd can kind of get a little bit more of that leadership experience, and we can kind of get more and more people across the campus who are
Mhm.
involved in things really readily into Blue Key, so we can kind of have a greater finger on the pulse, as I call it, so we can kind of better understand like how can we can contribute to other organizations and how can we can do that. As far as my kind of personal experience, sorry, if you want to go, Caitlin, I'll
I was
leave
gonna say the
it.
3.5 is referring to the GPA. Yeah.
Okay.
Then yeah,
No.
you got it, Connor.
But yeah, as far as how I personally came to be a part of Blue Key, I was more interested in that motto that Caitlin talked about, serving I live. I think that was something that really drew me in initially. It was something that I was involved in high school a lot as far as like volunteer work and wanting to give back to a community. And it's something that I didn't really kind of have an int like kind of ability to do in minds initially. I kind of just didn't know what avenues to pursue and where to go with that. And so that's how I got initially involved. And I kind of ended up somehow running for assistant M chair, which is one of our executive roles. Those are the two people who kind of govern everything with the M. They make all the designs on the M. I got really interested in that and involved in it, and I kind of fell in love with doing it, honestly. I kind of loved being able to put up those designs, kind of have the creative flow of doing it. And honestly, it's a labor of love that I really appreciate doing. And so as I've gotten more and more with that, I've joined further and further into Blue Key and kind of wanted to see this organization succeed, not just this year, but going forwards in the future. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, and for me, I joined kind of later than a lot of people. I joined as a junior, at the end of my junior year. And I kind of just had done a little bit of reflection on my time at Mines, and I realized that I wasn't as active in those traditions that I wanted to be. And so I did get an invitation from Blue Key. They did invite me. That's how we get new members, is we actually see those criteria and we send out the invitations to those people. And so I got that invitation in my email and I thought, man, this like could be a really good opportunity for me to like not only get more involved with my campus, but also give back to the community. And so I'm really grateful that I joined because I've been way more involved with campus traditions and events and activities, and also running as secretary. Basically, the like first moment I got into Blue Key, I ran for secretary, and I just wanted to do that again so that I could be more active and um, just get to be involved with everything. So yeah.
That's awesome. I've got a question I'll throw out there. I see some questions in the chat as well. In
mhm.
fact, why don't we start with those? I see a question from Islin about getting to your improvements project. What's
Mhm.
the fundraising goal for that? What is the scope of that this first time out of the chute now with your initial renderings of what you want to do?
So we are currently pinpointing that exact figure, but we're looking somewhere in the high five figures as far as like initially. So not high five figures, yeah, low five figures is what I mean. So we're looking somewhere around 80 to 100K for this first step. It's a lot and it sounds like a lot, and it definitely is. But we've kind of come up with some cool innovations that we're aiming to do as far as fundraising goals. So specifically to alumni and to other members of Minds, we are using what we call Corten steel, which is essentially just these flat steel boards that can kind of parse in some gravel as our terracing material. And we are offering water engraving and laser engraving onto those so you can actually like engrave like for example, if I was to do it right, it'd be like Connor Dunphy, class of, 26, M chair, right? So we can offer those personal kind of things to people to incentivize people to kind of donate. But yeah, it's a big project, and we're really
Yeah.
kind of looking at coupling and joining in with the foundation and president's office to really help that capital fundraising. But it's going to take a long time to get to where we need to go with it. So.
Yeah, great. I'm also seeing a question from Jenny, who is wondering how many new members you welcome each year. Do you try to bring in the same number of new members each year to move forward, or does it just depend on who's eligible?
So a lot of it does depend on eligibility. Typically this over the past couple, like I'd say 10 years or so, we've gotten roughly 40 people in each semester.
Mhm.
But we are trying to cull that back a bit to about 25. Again, just as more of an initiative to get the people who are in Blue Key like really, really involved in what we're doing, rather than kind of spreading ourselves a little thinner and kind of giving people less and less work, right?
Yeah, great.
But that is all we have for you guys as well.
Okay.
Please, stay in touch. We'd love to keep you around, hear your thoughts and feedback, etc. Always reach out as
Yeah,
well. We will, as someone on Minds, will connect you to the proper channels in Blue Key if you you don't end up hearing something back from us. But
Very
with
good.
that, I'd love to
absolutely.
turn it over to either Caitlin or Michelle to kind of talk more about their experience, anything else that they want to talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Michelle, yeah.
Hi, Michelle. Welcome, welcome again.
Well,
Do you want
thank you. Caitlin, do you want to go first?
No, you got the floor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you to Connor and Caitlin for sharing that. I graduated from Mines in '05, so about 20 years ago, and it's really fun to see that Blue Key is still just providing such a service to our community. And I've got to tell you, Winter Park, I started the Winter Carnival at Mines. So if you have any questions, we could talk about that as we
Good to
relive
know.
that. Lots of lessons learned in those first couple of years of doing that. Um, and and from a fundraising standpoint, we actually have light bulbs engraved from the original M on our Christmas tree that we bought as part of fundraisers in the early days. So those are cherished items that we put on our tree. My husband's also a Mines alum, so we each had one.
so cool.
But I just want to really echo what I heard Connor and Caitlin say is that when I joined Blue Key 25 years ago, well, I guess 23 years ago, it was really the service driven aspect of what the organization is that spoke to me. And when when I was first got invited, I was shocked that I even had the GPA to be invited to such kind of the esteemed organization that Blue Key is and was back then. And then it turned into this, oh, but you don't get just to join, you have to do something to Connor and Caitlin's point, right? The whole idea of this is not to just be in this kind of cool fraternity. It was really to do something and give back to your school. And unlike Connor, I didn't have that experience in high school. So it was a really eye opening step for me. And we didn't have as many people interested back then. So leadership opportunities were kind of forced upon us if you were someone that was involved. And so that's where I learned Robert's Rules of Order. That's where I learned how to run a meeting. It really taught me life skills in addition to service that I use to this day and have really appreciated. So I joined my junior year, and that actually led me on to student government, where at Mines, where I started this. You'll find a theme in paths for me, and became student body president my senior year, thanks to a lot of the leadership skills and service ideals that I gained in Blue Key. And so at that time, and we think, again, some of the history gets murky, I was the first female student body president at Mines. And so I attribute that absolutely to Blue Key and the ability to kind of step up and be willing to put in that time outside of school, because it meant something to a broader organization. And so for me, Blue Key was really that step and almost a passion for service to recognize that you could do something as an individual that impacted in a far broader reach than you would ever be able to do otherwise. And so I went on after Mines. I work in energy. I've lived in the upstream, downstream, and midstream worlds of energy, and have really found a passion there. But thanks to Blue Key, I've also recognized that a job alone does not fulfill you as a human. And so I've stepped into a lot of nonprofit roles, leadership roles, that I attribute directly back to Blue Key. And then about 3 years ago now, I decided to run for public office as the director of the Jefferson County Board of Education. And so I stepped into that position 2 years ago, and then recently was elected as president of the Board of Education. So, when I look at my history, and I know so many people on this call have been in and out of these roles and in and out of careers and in and out of public service. When I look back as to what started it, or someone asks me why, I directly attribute it to my experience in Blue Key. And so that's one of those really special moments for me to see it come together and see it continue. And we live outside of Golden now, and my son, my 10-year-old, noticed the pie sign on the mountain. Most recently, he was super excited about it, knew exactly what it was. And so there's just a lot of joy that even goes beyond the Mines campus and into the Golden community and the community surrounding, especially on our alumni connections. So I just wanted to share that my appreciation of Blue Key has far surpassed my time at Mines, and continues to be something that I draw on as inspiration, as support, as how to run a meeting. And it's something that seems so kind of simple and fun in the moment, but really tremendous life lessons get learned in the program. And so just a huge supporter, and I'm so proud to see it continue in such great leadership. So that's my story. And Ruth, I don't know if you wanted me to go into anything else, but
No, thank
we
you
could
for
talk
sharing.
education if anyone's interested.
We can do a whole other lunch bunch on
County.
that if you want.
We could.
So,
It's a fascinating
I love that.
place.
Are there others on the call that would like to share their experience with Blue Key, or reflections, stories? I know you've got them.
I will. I'll share a few thoughts. I graduated in 1979, and I became a member of Blue Key as a junior. At the time, I was student body treasurer. Yeah, and I think for me, like in high school, I didn't do very much as far as activities and service, but that opportunity at Mines was really powerful for me. And likewise, over my career over time now that I'm retired, I give back. And over the last, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I've been doing things with like the Association for Women Geoscientists Foundation. I was a number of different roles in that up to president, and I finally recently rolled off that. And now I give back through the SEG to students. And so I think that service was really an important part. It sort of was different than the other honor societies that I became a member of at that time because of that service aspect. And I really, really enjoyed it and got a lot out of being part of Blue Key.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I would just ask the question, as you go forward and you've got all these great programs and projects that are on the horizon, are there opportunities coming up where current Blue Key students can partner with alumni on an event, a program, a service opportunity, all of it? We've got a very robust local group of Blue Key alums, and I just want to throw that out there to not forget that we've got a super support network here that I think would be very willing to support what you're doing and come out and help. Roll up your sleeves and get after it. So I would offer that up, Connor and
Yeah,
Caitlin.
that's a fantastic idea, and we would certainly love to, right? I mean, a lot of what makes Blue Key really special is the fact that we do have those strong ties with our alumni and our graduates from Blue Key, right? And so we would love to hear any like of your feedback, anything like that. As far as partnership as well, if you ever have an organization, right, you want to get something on your get like a foot on Minds campus, maybe talk to somebody, we'd love to support your efforts. We'd love to be out there to help you guys just as much as, you've helped our organization. So yeah, but yeah, that's a great idea. We'll definitely think about it. I'll bring it up to some of the exec as well after spring break, see if they have any ideas as well.
Awesome. Questions, reflections? Is there a group within Blue Key who specializes on Blaster? Like you get specific training on how to handle the animals and what they can and can't do and where they can and can't be and all the rules. Because those are pretty special. I would ask that question. And then my other question is, Blue Key is an international or at least a national organization. Do other schools use Blue Key in a similar way to protect their school's traditions? Or is our iteration of Blue Key unique in that way?
Yeah, so the great, excellent questions. Everyone in Blue Key is trained on how to handle Blaster and how to specifically make sure like interactions between them go smoothly. Obviously, a lot of that is with little kids as well, making sure they
Yeah.
understand how to approach him, make sure they can smell their hand, don't get any fingers. But yeah, everyone gets to run them. We have a specific role on exec called our spirit chair, and they manage everything with Blaster as far as like getting them out here, getting the training set up, getting people to understand how to work with them. They're kind of what we call like our master blaster people. They kind of
Master
manage
Blaster.
everything. Yeah, so they
I
manage everything among that. Um,
love it.
and then we actually had the privilege this past year of attending the National Blue Key Conference. So
Uh-huh.
Blue Key is a national organization across the United States, and we learned we are very different from our sister chapters across the nation. As far as like governing traditions, we are kind of not afraid of being out there. Other chapters are very much more secretive with their Blue Key, so they're much more underground. It's kind of they're more steeped in what we call the fraternity aspect of Blue Key. So that was something super cool to learn. Like
Okay.
Clemson kind of does some bigger events. They do two really big events that they called it. They were the hosters of this year's past national conference that we attended, but
Uh-huh.
they kind of do something where it's like a campus tour essentially. They give out some big items like class rings, moped, etc., people like that. And then they kind of manage homecoming at their university as well. Those are kind of the big two things that Blue Key does over there, but they don't want people to know that they actually do that. They want people to kind of it's their system is much more like they choose you and then you kind of
Oh.
come into Blue Key and that's how you get invited, whereas ours is much more public and available to everybody.
Ah.
It's no election system needed.
Oh.
So
I like our system better.
can agree.
Richard, you had your hand up. You want to unmute oh, I thought you had a hand up. Maybe that was just my cursor. Okay. Gary or Ed or anybody? Ed, you want to share something? I cannot hear you. Maybe you need to turn your microphone on or unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, my computer sometimes gives a little fuzziness, so I use the headset. So I go back probably 60 years uh, when I first joined the Blue Key, and it was different. Uh, but the school was different too. Back then everybody was going for their professional engineering degree, and the track was do it in 4 years. And so the intensity was pretty much more on academics and a little less on quote social development. The key thing I remember from Blue Key was the school spirit, and the M was a piece of it. We also did the freshman orientation and all the things that were incorporated to get them instilled with the school spirit. And of course, the tug of war against the sophomores across Clear Creek was one of the big events that is a nice team building experience because the freshmen usually won. It was, by invitation back there. It was more tapping the people that seem to demonstrate leadership skills more than kind of an opportunity to develop the leadership skills. But I think, the school in general has done more to kind of broaden the person a little bit. And that's, I think, reflected in what Blue Key is doing. So yeah, and I also was a student body treasurer, so we have some kinship going on here in the call.
That's awesome.
Oh,
The trend here.
oh,
Hi, Gary.
yeah. I think back to my days at Mines, and I think I was more in the grade point average where Marv K was at, and I was always struggle. I never got to 3.5, but I did make it. That's the important part. But I I look now and think when I'm volunteering at one of the activities, and it's it's always encouraging to have the Blue Key there because it's gonna work, and they're just they're just you all of you are just a pleasure to work with, and it's just so much fun. And I look back and think all the things that I missed when I was in school that I have the chance to do now. So thanks for all that you're doing. And I'm wondering, is there an alumni chapter of Blue Key?
Good question.
We don't have it's the student experience, but we love to invite our alumni back. Especially like we don't discriminate based on a Blue Key alumni or not Blue Key alumni, right? If you're an alumni of Mines, as far as we're considered, your family, it's a Blue Key, as well as our chapters. So yeah, but we'd love to. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Yeah. It's great to hear that we have such a positive effect on people both now and way down the line from Mines. So
I think you've got some willing volunteers here with Gary and Michelle and
I
others
know,
who,
I know.
are willing and interested in sharing their experiences. Yay for Winter Carnival. I remember that from my early days here. But to be able to connect with local alumni as advisors, cheerleaders, whatever it is, to support what you're doing and maybe have a chance to chime in based on their experience.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's really great to know that there's interest in that. Awesome.
Another suggestion might be you have this fundraiser would be to maybe can they do little vignettes kind of at the other lunch bunch, say, hey, this month we have this going on, just a 30-second spot or something like that, just to hit the alumni.
You mean of upcoming Blue Key events or in
Yeah.
general?
Well,
Just-
or anything like the fundraiser or something, maybe
Yeah.
like you said, maybe at the beginning of the lunch bunch there could be okay, we're at 38% of our fundraising goals or something
Gotcha.
like that.
An update.
And here's
of
what
where
we're
at.
doing.
That'd be great. Maybe I can connect with you on that and we can give some updates as we continue here. Now you're going to be gone as of May, right? But Caitlin will still be with us for another year, yeah? No, you're graduating too. Oh, so come fall semester, we've got a new
Yeah.
crew. But
I'll be here in the fall because I'm coming back for my master's, but come December, I'll be gone.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that leads us really well into our next question from Roger. Hi, Roger. I see your name on my screen. How are you, friend? And Roger is asking, do graduate students qualify for Blue Key?
Yeah, so we typically don't allow graduate students into Blue Key, and our rationale is more the fact that we prefer the graduate students to focus on their time in their masters. Like we understand that mine's undergraduate is already rigorous enough as it is. And so we don't necessarily want you to take away that time from, well, especially a lot of the graduates that end up coming here, do a thesis or some sort of research project, which is inevitably very time consuming. And so we very much want them to focus on that and kind of do that. Another thing too is that logistics wise, since we do gate by GPA and we have that requirement, and since graduate students are required to make a minimum of the 3.0 to maintain in a graduate program, it just doesn't make much sense. We'd invite almost half the graduates we have on campus to be eligible for Blue Key, and that would just be kind of a hassle for us to wade through all those applications, interviews, etc. It's just not something feasibly that we've ever kind of thought about. We did think about it this past semester, but we ran into the same issue as we have now. But
Too much. Yeah.
but we do retain
Good
students
question.
as and they move into graduate degrees. So like Caitlin, for example, moving into her master's, she's still in Blue Key. We're not going to just kick her out because she's in a master's.
You're done.
Yeah. We also have a few exec members who are graduate students. And again, that was just kind of like the flow of they were a member in their undergrad and then they stayed here for their graduate degree, and that's how it panned out. But so sometimes it works out, but yeah, we don't like invite those students.
Mhm. I have a question, and I don't know if this could happen. John, you're hearing this for the first time, but many of you know that we invite local alumni to come out and help with the M Climb in August to weigh all the students' rocks and, high five the new class and just be part of the spirit of the morning. It's really exciting. Um, because this is the 100th anniversary this year, might Blue Key be open to having alumni participate on the climb itself if they never had a chance to do it, or as a commemorative, hey, it's the 100th, I'm going to do the hike. We have alums who do that because they're here volunteering for weighing the rocks, and maybe I'm putting it out there and I probably should think about it first, but I think we'd have some alums who go, sweet, it's the 100th anniversary. I want to come out and I want to do the climb because I never had a chance to, or I want to do it again. And, because it's the 100th, maybe there's a commemorative, Blue Key sticker or to mark the 100th, because this year is going to come and go. And then that's it. So I
Yeah.
just wonder if there might be something fun we could celebrate during this August's M Climb with our,
Yeah, Blue Key could absolutely talk to staff and other people
yeah,
on the who more so manage the actual size of the M Climb itself.
it's a
As
lot
much
of
as
people.
as much as we plan and lead it, they're kind of the ones who have the final say is like, you can't do this, you can't do this. So I can definitely bring it up to Nick Dietrich, Audrey Weber, all the people who kind of powers that be at Mines and see if they would be willing to have that
Yeah.
happen.
I
So
think it'd be fun to have people come out. Now, all of you on the call, how many of you still have your hard hat? Do you still have your hard hat that you got when, your first year, or your beanie? I mean, some of you have a beanie. It'd be fun to wear that and see all the different colors, right? Because every class has a certain color hard hat.
mhm.
Some years they're green, some they're blue or they're orange, whatever. But invite alums to wear the hard hat that they received the year that they were a first year student, and that could be fun. Anyway, I'm all about it. Always love to connect alums to these traditions and really what makes Mines Mines. I don't think any other school does this kind of thing, so I celebrate it. Oh, lapel pin! Yay, Michelle! Of course. Yep, that would be fun. We'll
I
chat.
was, oh yeah, um, I wanted to reflect a little bit on my experience with Blue Key. I remember getting water bottles like on career day to employers, but um, I was thinking since it is the 100th anniversary and the M needs some serious upgrading, you could do like 100K, like on the 100th year or something campaign, because I think the M means a lot to the people not only graduating from Mines, but also the local community in Golden as well. It's like you go to Golden and part of the first thing you see is the M. And so it's not really it's really more of like, I don't know, like a community milestone or something that is not
Mhm.
just attributed to Mines.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a community-wide City of Golden. Really, no matter where you are driving in from, as you're heading to Golden, you cannot miss the M. I mean, I can see it from my house. Michelle, I'm sure you can too, because I know you're over on the west side too. But I think that was part of the strategy when they constructed the M, that no matter where you're looking at it from, whatever angle, it's a complete M, right? It's not distorted. How they made that happen, I'm not sure. But it's
I do
very cool.
agree.
You're right.
I do agree though, with what you're saying, because $1,000 for a donation is not maybe too much of an ask, and you get 100. I love that idea of driving 100K for the 100 years. I think there's some really creative ideas behind that.
Cool. We'll chat. We'll chat. There's some great ideas here. Okay, everybody, it's about 5 minutes to the hour. Does anyone have any final comments or reflections to share before we start wrapping up? Anybody? Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us. I love this. I sort of geek out on all the Mines traditions, and I love sharing it with prospective students and their families, and of course with our alumni who come to visit campus. We have some of this history on display here at the Starzer Welcome Center on campus, and if you don't know where that is, we are on the corner of 18th and Illinois, right across the street from the President's house, so come and visit us. Thank you so much for all that you are doing, Connor and Caitlin, to move Blue Key forward in this very big year. And Michelle, thank you for your comments and, the real world kind of application of the lessons that you've learned. I think that's what it's all about. It's always hindsight, right? When you're in it, you're having fun and you're doing these great projects. But then after you leave, you realize the impact and the importance of what you were part of, which is something bigger than yourself. So we celebrate that. I want to give a quick plug for next month's program. Coming up April 16th, of course, the third Thursday, we're really excited to welcome Alicia Polo y La Borda Cavero, who has been hired by the Mines community to oversee and drive all of the discussions and global involvement with critical minerals. This is a huge topic for Mines. It's a huge topic for the world. So I invite you to join us. You can visit our website page to register and learn more about her and the other speakers involved in that program. Again, it's Thursday, April 16th, noon to 1, right here. And then we have a special program planned in May. I won't let the cat out of the bag just yet, but that'll be our last lunch bunch program of the semester. We will take June and July off and then resume in August. So as I mentioned earlier in the program, if you've got ideas for topics, programs, people, anything that you want to learn more about, we would love to know what's on your mind so we can make those happen and make you an informed, enthusiastic, awesome ore digger. Okay? Everybody good? Yay! Thank you to Connor and Caitlin and Michelle, and I hope you all have a great day. Go ore diggers! We'll see you soon.